Hi, and welcome to an Organized Chaos podcast. I'm Bobby Quarters. Chaos is here with me as well. We just wanted to thank you for watching.
Yes. Hey, Bobby.
And hey, and while you're here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You could follow me on YouTube as well as Chaos and the podcast channel, which all three of those channels will be streaming this very show you're about to watch. All these counselors start dropping dead, left and right. Heinous killings. Turns out, that kid who drowned the year before, his mother came back to that camp and exacted revenge.
We have a little bit of a situation we wanted to run by you.
Mobius! Wow! Great to see you again.
You know that?
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
No. It's impossible to time slip in the TVA.
I've been pulled through time between the past and the present.
And now here we are, enjoying a meal like gentlemen.
You slap me in the face, I'm not gonna
I got you a
forget
shake, okay?
Maybe you don't get out much.
Oh, this is crazy. This is totally crazy.
Or maybe you just have other things on your mind.
They gotta make me a movie star.
That's impossible! And what is it?
I don't
Well, our war hero has arrived. You made a good choice coming back here. Scorsese are the finest, wealthiest, and most beautiful people on God's earth. They have the say who gets the oil. Son, I got a question. You like women?
That's my weakness.
Shomikasi. That's how you are.
I don't know what you said, but it must have been Indian for handsome devil.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
We have so many deaths we've lost count.
There's just bad luck. Seems more like an epidemic than bad luck to me.
Hi. Hello. How are y'all doing today?
I just like putting Bobby on the spot. Hey,
Yeah.
how are you guys doing?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, well, guys, we have Ed, Pop Counterculture, joining us. If you are not subscribed to Pop Counterculture, go over to Pop Counterculture on YouTube. Hit the subscribe. And also hit Bobby Quarters up. Hit Organized Chaos Podcast up. Hit all the channels up. All of them. They're
Do
awesome.
all the things.
Yes, the things. The algorithm things. The general
Stuff and
algorithm
things.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Not so bad. Not so bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I mean, we got I guess overall we're talking about good stuff. There's definitely something I have complaints about. We will have it'll be reversed. I lined up for Loki, Creepshow 2, and Killer of the Flower Moon, and we're actually going to flip it. We're going to do Killers of the Flower Moon to open us up because Ed's here. And he wanted to join in, and I think that'll be fun. And of course, my internet connection is going to go wonky right now because that's fun. I enjoy it.
Of course.
I didn't want a camera feed anyway, so yeah. I got all set up for a camera feed, so why would I use one? That's lame. That's boring.
That's how it always goes.
I guess, are you guys ready to dive into Killers of the Flower Moon?
Yeah.
Always.
All right, so this was a movie by I don't know if you guys have heard of this filmmaker, Marty Scorsese.
I heard of him. He's looking coming.
Is he
Yeah. He's a newcomer. Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
his first movie. I don't think he's done anything before.
Yeah, he's making a
No,
Marvel movie next. So this was his.
I just dove.
I thought it was a dark horse, but okay.
Yeah. Here. Cool. Let's get things up to look nice. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing it on the
Listen,
fly. Right.
Live streaming is all about messing up and then just covering up your mess ups as you're live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go ahead and go into my overall thoughts on this. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. What do you guys think?
I really enjoyed it. Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Ed.
Sorry, go ahead. No, this is a movie that it floored when it was over, I was overwhelmed, it really kind of it was a lot to take in. And I watched it on Saturday, and I've had since Saturday morning to think about it, and I have, man. This is a movie that I haven't been able to stop thinking about, because it's so perfectly encaptures that feeling of knowing you're knowing what situation you're in and not being able to stop it. And I think that's the most haunting feeling about it to me. When I think about it, it's just that constant feeling that everybody was aware, but they couldn't do anything about it. And that's the most haunting thing about it for me.
No, this movie, I think it's fair to call this movie an experience. This movie is 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And to its credit, it really doesn't feel it. I felt the length of Avengers Endgame more than I felt this movie. So, if you enjoyed 3 hours of Avengers Endgame, this shouldn't bug you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, very stylistically different movies, but lengthwise, this bugged me a lot less. Bobby, what were you thinking?
I just saw it today, so it's still very fresh in my mind. I enjoyed it overall. I did. I do kind of agree with one thing some of the critics have said about it could have used an intermission. I felt it did.
Yes.
It's just more my bladder is only so strong, and once that seal is broken, it's really hard to control it for me speaking. But other than that, I enjoyed this, and a lot like what you said, Ed. It's a lot that whole overwhelming helpless and just hopeless feeling that you just feel, and it just hits that is definitely really great. I'm really happy how they wrapped it up, because I was hoping they would do it like that, how Martin usually does it whenever he covers historical pieces.
Yeah.
And this was really well. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. No, the ending to me, without getting into specifics, let's just say sort of the presentation to it was one of the most powerful things about it. And I don't want to guessing we want to say spoiler free, but it definitely takes a stylistic shift towards the end, and what it sort of does with that moment and how it relays to, especially in the modern era with what's really big. I mean, let's just I don't want to say too much, but some of the more popular channels and podcasts out there, what they're about, I think it was a really incredibly subversive way of him bringing that home to the modern day, and also just a damning sort of version of history being written by the victors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I guess overall our recommendation is go watch it. Do we want to go ahead and just dive into spoilers now? If you like Martin Scorsese, you like historical dramas, go watch it.
But before we do, one thing I did want to bring up, I enjoyed, and I'm curious if either of you guys caught this, the tropes of Scorsese, but just with lighting and camera.
Okay, no, I didn't pick up too much on that.
Almost every single interrogation scene, he had just a little bit of light on one half of whoever's face, and just that kind of tight shot on each of them. You see it in Goodfellas, you see it in Casinos, you see it in The Departed. Yeah. It's just more of just oh, hey, cool. That's all. I was just curious if anyone else thought that
either, but I believe you.
Yeah.
I kind of want to rewatch stuff now.
Yeah, no, I think there is one thing I do want to touch on before we get into spoilers and all that. And I think like overall, like this is very much a movie about like racism, you know, and like in the complexity of it and why it's very important in 2023 to tell this story because so much when people talk about racism in the modern era, it's so black and white, you know, it's so good, bad, it's so binary. And I think what one of the things that I really love about how this movie discusses race and portrays it um is that like it offers no easy answers. It offers no easy like anything. This is a movie that like part of the reason why it has that sense of dread uh that permeates throughout the entire movie is that like I never ever questioned that like Leo DiCaprio loved his wife
No.
and
Yeah.
anyone to them. And that is like an aspect that gets you know missed a lot. It's just that just how much having two people in love and still have there be a degree of racism, how that complicates everything. And I really admire Martin Scorsese for just like taking that concept, taking that idea, especially as a white dude, and just fucking like hammering in right into it and being able to just say something so absolutely just powerful and I think very urgent and necessary in 2023 with it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, like pre-spoilers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll start segueing into spoilers because I'll go ahead and say like after this, like man, this movie, like especially like before we get to the third act, this paints white people as evil.
Oh,
it's historical,
evil.
but like, yeah, it's like okay. So you brought up Leonardo DiCaprio because you could argue like nuance with him. Like he knows he's doing bad shit. He's doing lots of bad shit, but like he does love his wife, and you thoroughly believe he loves his wife. He even makes a point like he loves money, and the only thing he loves more than money is his wife. But he's still doing bad shit, even to her.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, you also have Robert De Niro, who's just fucking evil. He's just a piece of shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
He might be one of the most frightening villains of 2023, in my opinion. Because I'll be real with you, I did not for a second like doubt that he does have a genuine appreciation and respect for the Osage people. It just doesn't matter because, like his nephew, he just loves money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the difference between Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro is essentially Leonardo DiCaprio loves his wife. Robert De Niro just loves money, it appears. That's all he's after. If the basic premise of the story, and I guess this isn't really spoilers, but this is like in the first couple minutes, you have the Osage Indians. They come across a whole bunch of oil, so they get a whole bunch of money. And essentially, pretty quickly, not only do we see they have a whole bunch of money, but the money is regulated by bankers. And like the main guy there is Robert De Niro, who's like regulating the money, and he's encouraging white guys to come in and marry Indians and you know, just get the money into like your side of the family type stuff. Leonardo DiCaprio is his nephew, and it is a fucked up scheme. Like holy shit. Yeah, it's complex. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I love the way that you know Bobby. You know, you mentioned a lot about how like you know. By the way, I love the shirt. Bad Religion's like one of my all-time favorites, homie. But like,
if you ever have the chance to see them in a church converted to a concert venue, highly recommended.
I gotta seek that out.
There's one here in town, and they just played last Friday, and I was just like, oh, they're playing there, that old Baptist church.
Holy shit!
Yes,
man.
I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, that is the best place to see them.
It was great.
Yeah, no, but I do, you know, I know, you know, earlier on in the show you talked about how you know Scorsese is in a lot of ways going back to his old bag of tricks, and I mean, you know, I think frankly that sounds a little reductive. I think what I'm trying to say more is that like Scorsese is in conversation with himself, right? Because so much of this movie plays out like a Casino or a Goodfellas with that sort of, you know, gangster, you know, your basic Scorsese rise and fall of a gangster and all that, but it just has this tragic score. But one thing that I really love about the opening of this movie is that it's so somber and it's so quiet, and you see the elders of the Osage elders, you know, mourning, like they're just giving this effigy, they're burying this effigy. It's a metaphorical funeral. You don't really understand like what's going on, what is driving this you know, this act and all that. And then in the you know, the dialogue says, you know, everybody, all of our children outside of this tent have already been taken by the white man. And you think, oh, so like they've all been kidnapped. But then you cut, and it's all the young Indians are dancing in oil that is erupting from the ground, you know? And while that's going on, the closest thing to like rock and roll, and that's what Scorsese is known for, his rock and roll needle drops, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting that rock music, and you're getting that super cinematic and dramatic, like Scorsese like moment of celebration.
Yeah.
And then you never go back to that moment again. You never
Nope.
go back to that movie. And then like another thing that I love too is that like all the young yeah, I just wanted to point this out. Like all the young people that we see in that scene are the elders in the rest of the movie, which is just fucking fascinating, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm also glad you brought up the soundtrack because I love the score here. Like we don't get Rolling Stones or anything like that, but yeah, we like it's
No
a great
Stones.
score. It like it plays. Yeah, no, it's weird, right? No Stones, no Roger
Yeah, a
Waters
little bit.
live. It's weird, but yeah, it's
I
a
believe
great
that was
score,
Van
really,
Morrison.
it won't surprise me at all. But
No.
it's the score just works so well here.
It did.
So well
It
here.
really did.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like Martin Scorsese is not a young man, but
No.
like he is still spitting out bangers. Like it's insane how like this movie feels like so timely and topical, even though it's about a past story. Like it just feels like this story just relates to a lot of stuff that you could see going on right now. And I just love how like even though he's an old man, he's still like in touch and making topical stuff. And it's kind of amazing how like I'm used to seeing filmmakers kind of lose their touch, and he's not that filmmaker. He is still really good. In fact, I would say like I feel like he's really starting to like, I don't know if I want to say hit his peak, but he's
hitting
rolling
another
out,
peak.
and I'm just still impressed. Yeah.
He's still got it.
He might
He's
be.
still got it.
Yeah.
No, and I think that opening is him like saying, "Listen, motherfuckers, I know I'm 80 years old, but I still got this shit. Look,
yeah,
I got Indians dancing to rock and roll like when showered in oil. I got this, but I'm not that Scorsese no more. I'm this Scorsese, and I love that. I love how it's just communicated.
He still shows that he's still the same Marty, and like the shot where one of the first murders that we actually witness as the audience, while they're walking up through that oil field, the one guy's in the either side and the dude in the white, and just the boom. It's like, there it is. There's Marty.
And you know what? I love that. I love the way.
Yeah, I actually loved that shot and that whole sequence. I love that. Was one of my favorite moments. Just like that's the Marty I know.
And I know this sounds morbid, but I really love the way. I know this sounds really fucked up, but I love the way he shoots the way the Indians are murdered in this movie. Because it's like
interesting.
No, it is, right? Because again, this is in a lot of ways a movie about racism, you know, and in a lot of movies when you're portraying a racist, it was with like seething blood, dripping, shouting the N-word or something, you know.
Yeah.
Something that I love about how this movie portrays the racially motivated violence is just how chillingly unemotional it is. How completely lacking in hatred all those murders are. Like they're all, and one thing too is that they almost always shoot them in the back. They don't want to see them when they shoot them. That's how like they want to like dehumanize them that much. And I think that's like part of the overall message here, you know. And something that I said in my review is there's you know, the KKK eventually plays a part of this movie and shit like that.
Yeah.
And you know, well, again, there's layers. I could probably make a whole hour about just that, but something that I you know, that I said in my review on my channel was that like one thing that this movie says that is often not really talked about is that you don't need to wear the KKK hood and be in the KKK to be a racist, you know. If you just make excuses for those fuckers and let them, you know, persist, you're no better. And Yeah, and I think something that I love about this movie is that like there's that whole subplot where Leonardo DiCaprio hates his brother-in-law, but then there's that one scene where they finally get to talk, and neither one of them could really say anything because they're both doing the exact same thing. And
Mhm.
and I feel like every person all the white people in this movie are fully aware that they are doing racist things, that they are being racists. They just don't care because there's something bigger on the
Yeah.
horizon, you know?
Well, I mean, there's money involved. They gotta get
Exactly.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we did talk about the ending scene, and I will say the ending scene kind of surprised me,
Mhm.
but I did feel like it did a good job of capping it off. So, like we already said, we're in spoilers. The
Mhm.
ending scene, like essentially, you get this great scene between Molly, who is Leonardo DiCaprio's wife, and Leonardo DiCaprio's Ernest.
Mhm.
Throughout the movie, she has diabetes, and he's been giving her insulin.
Yeah.
Except it's pretty clear it's not insulin because it's not having any effect, and she's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then eventually, he has another drug that he adds to it. So, like, yeah, she's just getting sicker and sicker.
Mhm.
And eventually, the doctors do get to her and help her out before she dies.
Right.
So I was happy to see that because she was like the only character here I liked. But
Yeah.
but there's this great ending scene where she asked him because they seem like they might still like recover their relationship despite all the shit that goes down. But
Yeah.
like she asked him, what were you what were you putting in those shots? And he just answers insulin. And
Yeah.
even if he doesn't know what's in there, he knows it wasn't insulin. And
Mhm.
that's the end of their relationship right there, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But then it follows up with like this radio show that takes place like 20 years after or something like
Mhm.
that, where they're recapping the event of this, which was great. And the last line in this movie, this surprised me. The last line of this movie is done by Martin Scorsese himself.
Yeah,
Which
that's true.
has he ever been in one of his movies?
Oh yeah,
Probably, but
he's a Taxi Driver. Oh, by the way, Bobby, you're muted.
is he?
Yeah, he's in the back. He gives the yeah, he's the coked up
Quite a graphic speech in Taxi Driver.
yeah, very graphic one.
Oh, I need to rewatch that. It's been a few years.
Yeah,
But
just
yeah, I
listen for
I
a guy
don't think.
talking about a 44 Magnum and
Oh,
in the cab, and that's Marty.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think like he's made like a cameo in one or two of his, like a background character.
hmm
I'm not sure. I
But
know
yeah,
for a fact he's in Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a cameo, but it's definitely like he gets like the last lines of the movie, like
Yeah.
to just kind of spill out a whole bunch of stuff, which was an interesting idea, but he carries it well, so I can't really
Yeah.
fault him for it. But yeah, it was kind of unexpected, but it worked.
Well, it was nice because when I saw this, there was a moment where it was like Martin Scorsese thanking you for coming to this theater. To
Yeah.
watch
Yeah, that
this
was the
movie.
beginning. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, that's a nice bookend.
Mhm.
Kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah. I
you
didn't
know?
think about that, but yeah, it is total bookend. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
actually think like it's a I mean that whole scene to me was meta and like
hmm
such a classy, we're so used to like meta being so over the top, like
Yeah.
Yeah, but
movie
Like
style.
Marty doesn't look at the camera and say the speech. No, it's just
he
Barber radio
kind
show.
of is looking at the camera, but not looking at the camera.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys heard any of the interviews that he gave before this, but he was working on this movie for a very long time. And they were actually like heavy into pre-production until it suddenly dawned on everybody making it that the story as it was told at that moment in time was purely told through the white character's perspective, you know? And I forget how many years ago this was, but Scorsese he stopped it right there. He stopped all development and demanded a rewrite, a fresh rewrite where we tell it from the Native American perspective. And that's the movie that we see now. And now we know that Scorsese really did his best to honor the Osage people, lived among them, learned from them, and stuff like that. And I think like that ending is so meta to me, right? Because this is a Native American movie told by a white man, right? And this is a movie that in the end, like really kind of hammers home that nobody talks about what happened to the Osage people, you know?
Mhm.
And what I really kind of love about and sort of the tragedy about it, is that in 2023, if we do hear like the Osage story, it's going to be in podcasts and almost through like I think the radio show and podcast comparison is very direct because and you know, a lot of true crime podcasts now, especially as they've developed, have started to talk about, you know, the Highway of Tears, and have started changed the way they've talked about especially crimes about people of color. And I think, you know, that is sort of paying lip service to that because in some way Martin Scorsese, by giving himself the last sort of line, the last spoken line, sure, is saying that like the big tragedy of these sort of things. And the movie also mentions, you know, Black Wall Street, the Tulsa City massacre,
Yeah.
you know, is that like
Yeah.
these chapters of history, not only do they barely get talked about, but they only get talked about when guys like me, Martin Scorsese, with our clout and our power, get to tell it. And a lot of the times when we do tell this story, we leave out the uncomfortable truths, which is why the final shot of the movie, which is that overhead shot of the Native American, you know, ritual that they're doing and all that. That's why it's so fucking powerful to me because like it's overhead, it's distant. You know, you don't see any faces. You see them as an abstract idea. And in a lot of ways, that's all these tragedies become to us. Is just like these large, horrifically sad, like, but sort of distant, like past. It's a ghost, you know? And that just like, I mean, to me, that's what haunted me the most. It's just like that feeling at the end of the movie that like we've told you this story, but we have to fucking do it this way, and this is who these people are, you know, like that. I don't know, like that was just I mean, it's fucking Scorsese. He knows how to fucking use cinema to the fullest potential, but like that to me was what cinema was all about, and that's how you fucking use cinematic language to just like fucking drop the mic on the world essentially.
How
You know?
you could not tell. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ed, that entire take, I love it. I
Yeah.
hadn't that deeply into the movie yet, but like, dude, like
No,
you're
no,
still on the nose. I love it.
I'm happy you got into the ending because that ending
Yeah.
shot, like that's the thing that kind of really resonated the most. I mean, the whole thing resonated, but just that
Yeah.
ending one was just the emphasis on all of it.
No, it was an ending that I like I struggled with for a while. Like the first like day, I was like, good ending, weird shot. But then like when I sort of put it all into perspective, you know, and like also, you know, I think as you know, Bob, this year I've made a very concentrated effort to learn about Mexican history and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So hearing, you know, what happened to Native Mexicans and what happened to Native Americans are not very different. So I think also just at this moment in my life, this story really stuck to me and stuff like that. And all I could think is like, oh yeah, so Mel Gibson had to make Apocalypto, huh?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, you're making so many great points. But yeah, I didn't think about it because like I could see a version of this script where you turn Leonardo DiCaprio's character into like a hero or something. That
Mhm.
could be very easily done.
Yeah.
And you know, and in the end, he does testify against Robert De Niro, so it would be easy to say like, oh yeah, he saved state, but he's a piece of shit, and this movie shows him as a piece of shit,
Yeah,
and
he's
you
still
do not like him, and it's probably more accurate to the character because it's not every aspect of him that's evil, but he is a piece of shit.
yeah.
Well, pure evil is rare, you know, like
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
no person is entirely good or evil. We
Mhm.
all have our
Yeah.
shades and stuff like that. It's what we do with it, right?
Yeah,
It's how we
exactly.
feed the good wolf and the bad wolf. And I think
Mhm.
yeah, I think just back then, you know, desperation causes people to do fucked up things. And I think
Mhm.
like when you're talking about the inequality that, you know, put yourself from the white people's perspective here, they're seeing all these Indians who are the wealthiest people in the world per capita. Yeah, like who, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole like discussion here about like capitalism and stuff like that, but when success is only these things away, and that's your only avenue to it, and it's success to the degree that you become a millionaire if you do the right things, like it's hard not to do that if you're living like how Leonardo DiCaprio is when he comes back from war, lost, not knowing what the fuck to do with himself, and kind of stupid, you know?
Yeah. Damn. Well, is there anything else you guys want to add for the movie? I know Ed, like you've said so much good stuff, man. It's been gold. Just I'm just listening, going fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, no, dude, thanks. Honestly, no, like I don't know what else I could really say about this movie, man. Like
it's a great movie. Like if you're on the edge of watching it, just go watch it. I know it's 3.5 hours. Maybe bring a catheter with you. Make sure to go to the bathroom right before it starts, even if you don't need to go. Just empty it out. And watch a movie because it's a good one. You don't really feel the time except maybe in your bladder. That's
you don't want to be like me where like you're in the last half of the movie and you keep wanting to go use the bathroom, but every fucking scene is a banger. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like 3.5 hours, like every scene's a banger in this.
Yeah,
like there's like I kind of assumed there'd be a point in the middle where it's like, okay, I can run off and pee, but like there isn't one of those. So just to warn you.
Okay, so like the last movies that I saw in theater was Oppenheimer, and before that was Beau Was Afraid. And this whole year, dude, maybe like probably since last year, I've just been getting into like super long movies. Like my favorite movie this year is Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. His 1980 famously is credited for being the death of the New Hollywood era. That movie actually kind of reminded me of Killers of the Flower Moon a lot because that movie is 3 hours and 42 minutes long. And this movie is 3 hours and 34 minutes long. And you know, I think like I've seen so many 3 hour long movies. I think it's kind of like shifted my perspective on them, you know? And I think like for these movies, because Heaven's Gate is also about a historical event, a very tragic event that was also racially motivated. There's a lot of like, you know, parallels here between the two movies. But I think one of the big ones that they're both movies that are over 3.5 hours long. And I think like the net effect of that is kind of equal in both movies. Where like the point is that you're spending 3 hours with the Osage people. You're and not only that, but like Lily Gladstone's performance. Let's just take a minute there. Like,
oh God,
she is so good. Oh my
incredible in this. Like you're following her through this, and the whole point is that you're spending time with her family, with her community. And just like with Heaven's Gate, the whole point is you spend 3 hours with this little town with everybody in it, so that when that big tragedy comes in the end, it's just ripping your heart out for like an hour. And that's what this, very similar. So if you like Killers of the Flower Moon, check out Heaven's Gate, because that's like the movie that entered my top 10 this year after like the third time I watched it. You know, like fantastic movie.
I mean, I don't even know what my top movies are so far this year, but I would say Killers of the Flower Moon's a contender for #1 for me. But I haven't seen
it is contender.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's easily contender for #1 for me. This is the best thing I've seen all year. Easy.
This is amazing. Yeah,
this is one of the better ones I've seen all year.
Let's see. Are we ready for Creepshow 2?
Yes. Lighten the mood up a bit.
Creepshow 2, a movie that is kind of identical to Killers of the Flower Moon in every conceivable way I can think of. Like, it's really like the same movie, really.
At least the first 40 minutes.
I mean, Tom Savini comes up covered in makeup, and I'm like, yeah, this is Killers of the Flower Moon, 1987. Definitely.
Yeah, famous Martin Scorsese collaborator, Tom Savini.
Yeah, him and George Romero. Yeah.
George Romero.
So Bob, you haven't seen this one as you hadn't seen the first one. So
I saw this one this morning.
What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed this one. It's a half hour shorter than the last one, which I think caused it to go by a bit. Well, obviously, it technically did go by faster, but like I thought this one maybe flowed a bit better, even though I thought the banger stories in the last one were better than the banger story the stories in this one. This one, the stories are decent here. Obviously, we get 3 vignettes. God, I'm brain farting. It's the hitchhiker, the raft thing, and God, the first one. Oh yes, George Kennedy one. Yes.
Yeah. Chief Woodenhead. Yeah.
Chief Woodenhead.
Yeah. This is this is our only Halloween movie for this week, which is but it's still in there. But yeah, this is just a fun, cheesy horror movie. Overall, I enjoyed it.
Like last week, which was your favorite segment?
Favorite segment? It's probably Chief Woodenhead, the one I was having trouble thinking of. But yeah, it's got to be that one. That was great.
All right, now Ed, you've seen this one before, right?
I've actually never seen any of the Creepshows. This is the first one I've ever seen.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what
He's
was your
just like
favorite?
me. He's
Okay, so first take on it then.
Yeah, no, dude, this was, I mean, it's a fun celebration of horror, dude. And what I like is that like the 3 horror movies here are 3 different flavors of horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite was The Raft.
Ooh,
Okay.
interesting pick. Yeah.
Raft is also
Well,
mine, but
Yeah.
Chief Woodenhead is a close contender for that one.
That one was
Yeah.
super rewarding.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one's
yeah.
super gratifying.
Yeah.
I mean that's like a traditional horror movie, except all the victims are people you want to see die. So it's like,
Yeah, like
fuck
it's
yeah.
it's just yes, I'm okay with all of this happening.
Oh no, these teenagers are dying. Do it faster. I hope it hurts.
Oh no, that guy who loved his hair got pulled through a wall. And
Yeah.
scalped.
That was a great surprise. Though honestly, like I really liked in Chief Woodenhead how much time we actually got to spend with this lovely old couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those first 20 minutes where you're just like hanging out with them and you just really grow to like be like, oh, this is the kind of relationship I hope to be in when I'm in their age. They seem so, nice. And yeah, they got their disagreements, but they're so clearly loving and shit. And then you see them die, and it's like,
Yeah.
but
No,
yeah.
Yeah, I was watching it and I was like, okay, eventually this is gonna become a horror story. Because like the first 20 minutes is just like this old couple, he's running a shop, she wants him to retire, but he just loves running his shop. He loves helping people when they need help.
Yeah.
And this Native American man comes and he's like, hey, you guys have been great helping me. Here's some gems and stuff. These will be good spirits for you
Yeah.
to help pay it back. And it's all just very nice until these muggers come in like 20 minutes in, and then the last 10, maybe
Yeah.
it's half the story. Is this
Like
them
10,
like
yeah.
being terrible piece of
Yeah.
shit, killing this old couple, and then just having retribution for that.
Yeah, but I think the director's having a lot of fun with that movie, especially like in the
Yeah.
first act, because like you're watching a movie called Creepshow, like it's a horror movie, right? At some
Mhm.
point, like you said, it's going to become a horror story. So
Yeah.
at first, the movie plays up like, oh, is there something up with the old man and this wooden
Yeah.
statue? Like, and then you're like, oh no, that's not the big scare. And then you see
Mhm.
the old Indian guy come in with like all these gifts, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, is it like a cursed gift or something?
Yeah.
Or something, but then like no, the movie's like, no, we're gonna be much more mundane and show you something really truly horrible that could happen in everyday life. Here's the
Yeah.
innocent, couple being murdered by a bunch of fucking assholes, and
Yeah,
then that
who became a
actually like
problem.
makes you like completely shift where your head's at, and then the horror movie unleashes, which I thought was a sick move.
Yeah. Yeah. It plays it very like, except for like the intro with like the Tom Savini covered in makeup.
Oh,
Once
right,
we get
yeah.
to like the George Kennedy stuff, yeah, it's very just kind of almost just the old couple running a shop and being nice to each other and nice to the community. It's it. I will say this one had a lot more animated segments than the other one. Like there's actually
Yes.
like an animated narrative here, whereas the first one just kind of used it as transitions.
Which I imagine it was probably cheaper for that than to film.
Yeah.
it. Or yeah.
I will also say the animation here did not thrill me. It was
No,
not
that is
particularly good
great.
looking.
Yeah, that
Now-
is the ugliestly animated kid I've seen in a while, man.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
kid is horrifying enough.
Yeah. But
Now,
the
the next
actual
segment was
stories
the
were
raft.
solid, yeah. Yeah, the raft.
next thing, which was really, I liked that one too, because that was it seemed like your basic kids getting away to have some
Yeah.
fun, right before fall or whatever, just out there to have one last hurrah. And then it just goes horribly south really quickly.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I mean, it's essentially they go out into this lake onto this raft, and then there's this like tar monster. It
Yeah.
reminds me, just to dive into Star Trek, it reminds me of Star Trek Next Generation, the tar monster that kills Tasha Yar, except this one's scary,
Yeah.
which is a huge
Yeah.
improvement.
I mean, it totally in no way looked like a giant trash bag in the water.
Okay,
And it definitely
absolutely-
wasn't.
It kind of worked.
No,
It kind of,
but it totally
like
wasn't
the
like a
way
giant
it kind
card.
of bled through the raft cracks and stuff like that was
that was kind of cool.
kind of worked. Yeah. It almost seemed to have almost an acidic touch when it would grab people, which
Yeah.
That was also horrifying.
yes, yes. I mean, the actual the actual like garbage bag on the lake was a little cheap looking, but like it worked overall. Like I was kind of okay with the raft, mostly
Yeah.
because as it progressed and we got to see a bit more of how these teenagers acted during the situation, a couple of them die early on. You don't really know much, but like the teenager at the end, when it almost seems like he's going to get away, I am so happy when he does.
Oh, I love that shot.
I am so
I
fucking
am
happy.
too.
Yeah, like I actually like I thought again like I really feel like Stephen King is having a lot of fun with horror tropes, right? Because like the again like the very opening of The Raft is just like this long car ride, right? And it sets itself up with like your obvious slasher tropes. You have the two kind of like stoner buddies. You have the one obviously slutty chick, and then you have the more reserved girl who at first denies the weed, and then like it spends like the first like act of this like telling you, oh, this is who these characters are, and then over the next like 10 minutes like having all of them reverse course, right? Like the biggest dumbest stoner like turns out to be a scientist or a med student who is able to figure this out, and then he's a creepy fucking sex pest.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, I don't care if any of them make it out at this point. I mean, she's already dead.
The only one that I like, the woman at the end was the only one where I was like, okay, if she makes it out, I'll be okay. But like, she doesn't. And then the guy essentially molests her and then, sacrifices her so he can make it through. I'm glad when he dies. I am so happy. His death is the most satisfying.
And I love just how like traditionally satisfying they shoot it. Like it's at ground level looking right up as this thing engulfs him. It did feel so goddamn good when like they finally
and then
got
it just like pans away to a sign that says up, no swimming.
No swimming.
And I just love how the guy makes it to shore and he's like, aha, I beat you, I won, and then that's when it gets him. So good.
That was satisfying, man.
Next up was the Hitcher after that, which
I would say this was probably my least favorite one because it just felt like it went on for a bit too long. Like I don't think it's bad, but like it's a woman having an affair and she kills a guy trying to rush home to her husband, and the spirit of that guy just kind of haunts her all the way home. Or is it an actual ghost? I don't know if it's actually supposed to be there or not, but
I think it's supposed
it brings
to be
about her
the
downfall.
guilt. The guilt.
Yeah. That's what I kind of assumed, but
which is also the one where we get our Stephen King cameo.
Yes,
such a better actor in this one than the second one, or the first one.
The first one, you mean? Yeah. Well, in the first,
but I love
Jordan
Jordan Barrel.
Kind of delightfully bad with his performance, and then like here. Yeah, he's definitely a better performer here, but it's a much smaller role. I mean, he was the lead in one of the stories in the first one, which was kind of wild.
Which, if you have a chance to check it out, Ed, check out Creepshow 1.
If you enjoyed this one, watch the first one.
No, I almost watched it right after I watched Creepshow. I really, dude, I tell you, I really had fun with this movie. This was a good ass time,
Yeah, this is cheesy horror slop, but like not bad slop. Just it's fun.
It's classy schlock.
Yeah. Classy schlock. Well,
I mean, one thing I really say for this is that I really loved, like, I mean, it was like the most on the nose one. It's so clearly about guilt and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it. It's it's like a traditional case of like really well directed, okay script, where like I really enjoyed how the more that like she felt guilty and the more that she like acted out in her guilt, the more deformed the dead body became. Like that final form of it was like honestly disturbing to look at for me. Like it you feel sick.
Well, this one, like the first one was written by Stephen King and directed by George A. Romero, and then this one's a story by Stephen King and a screenplay by George A. Romero, and then directed by someone whose name I did not recognize, and now I want to look it up.
Well, he did a solid job, definitely.
Yeah, no. Like I said, my biggest issue here would probably be the animated segments because they went on a bit too long for how poorly animated they were. But the actual like stories, like The Hitcher was probably my least favorite, but it was fine. It's directed by Michael Gornick, who I've never heard of.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Did he get Waxwork too?
Let's see. He worked on the Romero movies. Okay, he worked on Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. So that's probably how he got the job there.
I see.
Probably.
Yeah. No, but I think he did a really damn good job. Just creating like this feels like a celebration of horror. Like it's a good party movie, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you put this on for your Halloween party. Yeah, you're gonna have fun. Kind of makes me want to check out Creepshow 3, but I've only heard bad things about it.
No, we are not. We are not.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I'd say, like,
I'd rather watch the Child's Play remake before I watch Creepshow 3.
well, we're doing the Child's Play remake next week, Bobby.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
I'm
I'm
interested to see
aware.
how Mark Hamill does, but yeah,
He's the only. He tries to redeem it.
If anybody could, it's Mark Hamill, man.
yeah. But yeah, this is just fun horror schlock. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would say probably I'd maybe like inch towards preferring the first one, but like it's really close between these two because they're so similar in a lot of the story veins and hit beats. I guess the first one just doesn't have long drawn out cringy animated sequences. It just has shorter ones.
That kid's face gave me nightmares, dude.
I think we're all probably talking about the exact same scene too.
That close up? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
Like when he has the magazine and just
None of us had to say it by name, but we're all just right there.
Just like what the
yeah. It's kind of crazy. They put so much money into writing and you know all the effects of this movie when the most horrifying thing in it is just like this 2 seconds of animation.
Yeah.
And also the bully kid. He
yeah.
He had a very unfortunate design.
Yeah.
He had a very unfortunate design.
Very
for
unfortunate, sure.
For his head looking like a Christmas turkey.
He was one of those like uncommon goth billies.
Yeah, no, he looked like a modern version of the villain from Pocahontas.
Yes, like a modern teenage villain.
Oh, his rebellious son.
yes. But yeah, I guess anything you guys want to add before we go on to Loki?
No, I was just reading one of the comments here.
What you got?
From Into B8 1986, you should check out Tales from the Hood. That's like Creepshow 2. Yeah, there is a story in that's similar to The Hitcher.
Really?
Okay.
Oh.
That's a good one. That is a good one, though.
I'll be down to watch
Tales from the Hood sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one. It has that actor. I can't think of his name, but he played Samson in Half Baked. If you've seen that,
I haven't seen Half Baked since college. I was fully baked when I watched it. So.
The last time I saw Half Baked, weed was still illegal. Let's put it that way.
In your state,
in my state,
yeah.
yes.
Well, that election is coming up very very.
That's
close
November
to where
for
we
us.
Live. Yeah.
So you know,
we'll see how that goes.
Legalize it, guys.
That bill actually seems like it's decent, so we'll see what happens. But
it does,
yeah.
and maybe to get into it real quickly, Bob, I think Mikey just finally saw the actual, tax benefits and revenue that would come from it, from states such as California or Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, no, that is not a joke. Like there are so many especially where I live, like there's so many tiny little towns with like one dispensary, and that is like the bedrock of that economy right now.
Oh my god!
Like that dispensary opens, and then the year after they have like nice parks and shit. It's fucking
like
wild.
Yeah, like that's legit. Like when I was out in 2012 in Oregon, we visited a few spots in Northern California, like Crescent City, and there was one dispensary there that was like that. And literally everyone in that town told us that dispensary keeps that town going year round.
Yeah.
And it's like a summer touristy town, Crescent City. And it's just like, what?
Yeah. No, it's and also like it's just kind of, you'll see like how many of your burnout friends are secretly like capitalist masterminds. I can't tell you how many of my friends that like absolutely had no shit going on at some point were like, hey, like, what if we actually make an effort? And now they're fucking living large, dude. It's fucking great.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, Ed, did you want to sit in while we talk about Loki, or you want to duck out?
I'm gonna go ahead and duck out. I don't really have much to add to that conversation, but thank you guys so much for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. If you want to talk about McDonald's, then you're missing an opportunity. But
I don't think I have a lot to say about. Well, I was gonna say that joke, but it's too dirty.
All right. All right.
Take it easy.
You talk to you later, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Peace.
All right. So Loki season 2 is Like here, like I like everything from this week, but this is definitely my least favorite. Like as much as I
Okay.
loved Loki season 1, like okay, so like the first 2 episodes, they're going after Brad, Agent X5, and that actual storyline is interesting. But I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right into it. The mid-credit scene or post-credit scene of the first episode is literally a fucking McDonald's commercial. I sort of fucking God. And
Yeah.
then the second episode spends 5 to 10 minutes kind of just fucking slocking McDonald's. And I'm like, the fuck are we doing? I just won't get this out of my system because holy fucking shit. Like, how much did McDonald's pay them? It had to be a lot. Did they just pay for the whole fucking season? Because like there's a reason why if you watch the intro where it's like I do like clips introducing stuff, and then it's a clip of Owen Wilson and the X5 at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And fun fact, I didn't grab that from Marvel. I didn't rip it from the episode. I grabbed it from a fucking McDonald's commercial on the McDonald's YouTube page.
Shut the fuck
A
up.
clip of this fucking show. And I'm like,
I believe you. I'm looking it up though. I
Yeah.
just
it's a commercial that shows like all these clips, and then like towards the end, it's Loki season 2. It is unreal how much
it's probably
because
because they have the Loki meal.
Wouldn't surprise me. It is
Email.
obnoxious. Now, I want to stress, like, even though the McDonald's product placement is obnoxious in these, I like the first 2 episodes. Ouroboros is a new character introduced, played by Ki Hugh Kwan. I want to see his name. It's a short round.
Yeah.
And he is so far my favorite part of the new season. He is fantastic in this series, and I think I'm excited to see what they do with his character. He's essentially the guy who like wrote the entire TVA stuff that nobody visits. He's just kind of in the underbelly. Excuse me. But yeah, I've been ranting for a little bit, Bobby. What are your thoughts?
They're going somewhere with the story. Where exactly, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I can't tell if they're just like slowly putting blocks in place, or if they're going to be doing something to set up for whatever next big move cinematically they're going to be doing, which is really what I feel like they're doing. So I feel like this is going to be filler.
Yeah, I don't know. So like, I like even though the McDonald's ads were too much. So if we cut those McDonald's ads out, I like the first 2 episodes a fair bit. I think they're building up an interesting story.
Yeah, I liked what they did
Then
with
we
the
get to
first
episode
2.
3.
The third one,
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that.
Episode 3 is McDonald's ad free. And like this is the episode that they pull a clip from for the mid-credit scene in Ant-Man 3, where like there's like this show that Mobius and Loki are at. And it's a show hosted by hosted by one of the variants of Kang. And I was excited to see this part. And it's a Kang variant who is essentially just a con man. And the whole episode is essentially Renslayer and Miss Minutes trying to get Kang on their side, while Loki and Mobius try to get Kang because they need him to prevent the TVA from blowing up, because he designed the TVA and it needs like an image from him. And this episode is just drags. Like for how excited I was for this episode, it just goes on. And as much as I like Jonathan Major's performances in the other ones, like it's fine here, but it doesn't carry shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree.
It
drove me nuts in this one.
It's the most boring Kang variant I can imagine. So like, so far, like, do I like Loki season 2? I guess, yeah, I lean towards yes. I think the positives outweigh the negatives. Is it anywhere near as good as Loki season 1? No, not even close. Like the first 3 episodes of Loki season 1 I thought were way better than these. I guess, I'll go ahead and go into some positives. I like, because I thought one of the strengths of Loki season 1 was the friendship between Loki and Mobius. And it feels like this season we're getting a lot more of them working together. Because I felt
Yeah.
like they had a good friendship in the first one, but we don't see a whole lot of it. And here they're working together a lot, and I'm really liking that. I really like Ouroboros's character. Think he's a great addition. We're seeing more of that. The guy who works in the office, who's played by the voice actor for Rutherford from Lower Decks. I don't know the character's name, but we're getting more of him, and I really like that as well.
I always refer to him as
Like, I like
Pillboy because that's the character he was on
Yeah.
The Good Place. So I just always have called him Pillboy whenever I see him. I go, "Oh, hey, Pillboy."
Is it Pillboy? Oh shit!
That
It's
is-
been a while.
That is Pillboy.
That is awesome. Yeah. But yeah, so like there's stuff to like here. Like, I'm not gonna say this is a bad season so far, but man, I have issues and I want to see it kind of pick up because you are right, it's feeling kind of fillery.
But I mean,
another thing I really like.
Let's be clear though. We're only 3 episodes in. So it's making any sort of judgment on the whole season 2 at this point is just premature. And let's just see where they go. And then if I feel it goes bad after that, then we could just say like, oh well, I didn't care for it. But yeah, I don't know though.
Yeah, well,
I
said,
do think
I think there's more to like in this series than to dislike, but this season specifically, because this is Loki season 2, first 3 episodes. There's more to like than to dislike, but there's definitely stuff I dislike going on. Oh yeah, but I also want to bring up, I really like the interrogation that Loki does on Brad in this. I thought that was a cool scene with the little cube that Loki's just playing around with that the guy's trapped in, and Loki's slowly shrinking as he plays around with it. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, I did like that.
Oh yeah, and Sylvie's not working for me at all in this season. Mainly because she just wants to go back to her job at McDonald's because that's where she's happy. Clearly, she's never worked at McDonald's before.
No, clearly
fact,
she hasn't.
There's no happiness there.
And not a McDonald's.
You might have good coworkers. That's it.
There's no happiness in fast food. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. But apparently that's our happy place, and it's like bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. But okay.
But yeah, so I guess my overall review would be I am not thrilled with the first 3 episodes of the second season. Will it pick up? I hope. Maybe the last 3 episodes will be amazing. I'll be like, okay, season 2 was great. But so far, not thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Greg, you bring up Loki and Mobius actually don't they work together a little bit in season 1, but it's not a huge amount. And I like their relationship. I like honestly, I feel like they annoy each other, and I kind of like the exchange between those two. But yeah, I guess I don't have too much to say other than the McDonald's shit really pissed me off. Product placement I'm fine with, but it was obnoxious here to the point where
admittedly for that, I had maybe had my laptop unplugged because usually I watch everything on here, and I just had my headphones unplugged and I just was in the other room and I heard it and I was like, that's weird that I'm hearing an ad. I don't pay for ads on Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't even think of going back or anything. I just heard it was like, am I hearing a McDonald's ad? That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, literally the mid-credit scene of season 1 is just a fucking McDonald's ad. It's her looking at McDonald's and you get slow motion family eating a McDonald's and it's presented like such a happy place, and I'm like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, I was in the other room.
It's a commercial that's not technically commercial. So even if you pay for no ads on Disney Plus, you get a commercial for McDonald's and Loki. Yay! Yes. Guess anything you want to add, Bobby?
No. I'm gonna be curious where they go with it.
Yeah. Hopefully less McDonald's. That's where I'm at with it. I would like a lot less McDonald's.
Yeah.
I would like to have my camera stay on for the end of the podcast. So internet, work with me.
Okay. Hopefully.
Yes. We'll see what happens. But next week, what we got lined up for next week? I always have to look it up because I never.
New Child's Play.
Yes, Child's Play 2011. We got Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, and Lower Decks Season 3. I just brought up Lower Decks earlier because the guy who plays Rutherford's in Loki. But we get to actually go into Lower Decks next week.
Nice.
I'm excited for that one. Fun fact, Lower Decks is awesome. If you haven't watched Lower Decks, watch Lower Decks. It's really good. It's better than Loki Season 2 so far.
But yeah, we got Five Nights at Frederick's.
Yes, Frederick's. Yes. I believe that's
we'll see.
name.
We'll see about that. I've been skeptical about that for a long time.
I don't know what to think of it. Blumhouse is usually okay, but yeah,
For the most part, yeah, they're okay.
Yeah. We will see. We will see.
Yeah.
Anything you want to promote, Bobby?
Nothing at the moment. There it is. Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. I'm excited to see where Loki season 2 goes because I just want to get better. It's not the worst thing ever, but
I too would like for it to get better.
Mm-hmm. Like I was like when I put it on last night, I was excited to dive in, and then like as this kept on going, like the third episode especially, I found myself playing on my phone a lot during the third episode. I was like, oh, this isn't a good sign, is it?
Excellent.
Okay.
But yes, we will see how it goes. I think Lower Decks will be great.
Oh yeah, it'll be a nice bit of a level.
I'm not sure about the other things, but like Lower Decks season 3 should be solid. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yes, Lower Decks is awesome. The Girl Has No Name is 100% correct on that one.
Yes.
But I guess yeah. So the initiative stream will be Wednesday, and then I'll do a solo stream on Thursday. The next Star Trek stream on the Ferengi with my daughter and Lindsay will be November 4th was the date we decided on, and that will be fun. We've seen lots of Ferengi episodes. We're going to go into the history of Ferengi. We're going to go into Quark. We're going to go into Nog. It'll be good stuff. But yeah, I think that's all I have lined up. Oh yeah, I'm releasing a video tomorrow. Eric July gets sued. I kind of am sick of talking about Eric July, but like he keeps on becoming relevant. He's so goddamn relevant. It pisses me off. It's like, dude, stop getting your nose in everything.
Well, you know, I'm sure he likes to cling to relevancy, like, you know, like shit to paper, but
he does it like shit because like he's relevant in all the bad ways.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he does seem like a tool.
Yeah, he is.
As Mikkel put it, yeah. He definitely is he definitely seems like a douche canoe.
Yeah, he is. But you know what, everyone, have a good one.
Yeah, take it easy.